What's going on, YouTube? This is the SG1 Sports channel, and we've got our Week 3 power rankings for the Big Ten. These are the power rankings heading into Week 3 of the college football season. And these videos will all now be on this channel, and we're going to have a separate video for our power rankings each day of the week. Monday through Friday, we'll go through each of the Power 5 conferences. So let's get right to it. Number 14, coming in last place, it's the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. We thought that they were maybe going to be better this year. They played Washington tough for a while, and then they go out and lose to Eastern Michigan. So that is not a good look for them at all. They're 0-2, the only 0-2 team in the Big Ten. So yeah, tough loss for them as they come in at last place. The team that was in last place last week all of a sudden is 2-0, and they've climbed up one spot. It's the Illinois Fighting Illini. They got that big win over Ball State. They won by 3 points, and it was a close game, but it was still a win. And then last week they were underdogs against Western Kentucky. They got the win there, so that was a big one for them. And yeah, Illinois 2-0, and they get South Florida Friday night. That's going to be an interesting game, and if they can pull it off, you're going to have to really start paying attention to this Illinois team. Number 12, probably the biggest disappointment for me in the Big Ten is the Northwestern Wildcats. They go out and get blown out by Duke. We saw them struggle against Nevada in Week 1, but then they go and just get blown out by Duke. And I did call that upset. I knew it was coming because for whatever reason, this team it's not working out for them this year. I thought they were going to be a contender in the Big Ten West, but now we've got them almost in last place in the Big Ten. We'll see if they can turn it around, but it's not been a good start for them. Another team that I think maybe has a chance to turn it around, the Indiana Hoosiers. I don't think they're going to stay this low. I think they're probably going to start rising back up. The tough loss to Ohio State, but then they get a big win over Virginia last week. And yeah, I don't think they're the 11th best team in the Big Ten. I think they're probably a little better than that. But we've seen some other teams play well also, so it's really hard to judge this early. But for now, we're going to keep Indiana down here at number 11. And perhaps they should be at 10, and we should put Purdue at 11. But I've got Purdue ahead of them because they really looked impressive against Ohio. Ohio is a pretty good group of 5 team. They're no pushover, and Purdue just went out and demolished them. And, you know, they almost beat Louisville. They came closer to beating Louisville than Indiana came to beating Ohio State. So maybe that's kind of where my head is on this one. But those two teams both are looking pretty good. And the number 9 team coming in next, another one-loss team. It's the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I've got them at number 9. A good comeback attempt against Oregon, but in the end they could not get it done. And this team just, you know, they're a decent team. I just don't know that they're going to be an actual real contender in the Big Ten West this year. I think it's pretty much come down to Wisconsin and Iowa and maybe Minnesota. We need to see a little bit more out of them. But I don't think Nebraska has a real shot there. So I've got them at number 9. Number 8, one of the biggest surprises in the Big Ten is Maryland. They get another big win this week, playing an inferior opponent, but still it's a win. That win over Texas still looks really impressive. We don't really know exactly what Texas is going to be this year. I don't know how good they're going to be, so we're going to have to check that out here over the next few weeks. They have a big one against USC coming up this weekend. So yeah, Maryland up there at number 8, probably the biggest surprise as far as a team being better than I thought they would be. So yeah, there's Maryland. Minnesota at number 7, they're 2-0. They went out west and they beat Oregon State like a drum. That game was never close, and they were the underdogs in that game. So that was a big win for them. We'll see if they can keep it going. So far, so good though for Minnesota, and that's why I've got them all the way up here at number 7. So they've been a nice surprise. And another team that I've been surprised with, yeah, the Big Ten has really not gone how I thought it would go this far to this point in the season. Michigan State, number 6. Yes, they haven't played anybody great, but they blow out Bowling Green. They had a pretty good win over Western Michigan. They controlled that game pretty much throughout. And, you know, Western Michigan was beating USC in the third quarter, so that's not a bad Western Michigan team. But again, we're going to have to see some more out of this Michigan State team, see if they're really back to what they were a few years ago, or if it's just, you know, a fluke here early in the season. Number 5, the Iowa Hawkeyes. They almost lost to Iowa State. That was a close game, went into overtime. The running back, Wadley, he is really, really good. I was really impressed with him against Iowa State. And their defenses, it didn't look quite as good against Iowa State, but still, we know they have a pretty solid defense. And with that run game, they're a real threat to Wisconsin in the Big Ten West, in my opinion. Ohio State, number 4. Obviously, that big loss to Oklahoma is going to drop them down. They just can't seem to figure things out on offense. They can't seem to guard the pass on defense. So some big question marks for Ohio State. They still have a chance to climb back up in this in these rankings. So we'll see if they can do that. But so far, they have not looked all that great. So I've got them at number 4. Up to number 3 is the Wisconsin Badgers. They got another easy. Well, they actually didn't look all that great against Florida Atlantic. They started slow again. That's 2 weeks in a row. They needed to do better against BYU this week. If they start out slow on the road, that one could get interesting. So that's going to be one to watch and see how Wisconsin comes out in that game. But they're still looking like the front runner in the West for sure. I don't really see anybody touching them. Maybe Iowa, but I doubt it. Michigan at number 2. They struggled a little bit against Cincinnati, but still they have the talent. They've shown it. Even though they're young and inexperienced, this team looked so good against Florida. And still, I'm kind of basing it off of that. Maybe Wisconsin deserves to be 2. If they would have went out and took care of business against Florida Atlantic and blown them out from start to finish, Wisconsin would be number 2. But they struggled a little bit as well. So that's why I have Michigan up here at number 2. And then number 1, it's Penn State. They continue to look good. They blow out Pittsburgh. That game was never close. The offense looking good. The defense looking good. Trace McSorley, his passing game, he's going to need to improve a little bit there. Other than that, I don't really see any weaknesses on this team. They really look good. And if they can get that win on the road at Ohio State, they could very easily go undefeated. And so we're talking about Penn State being the front runner now in the Big Ten, in my opinion. And maybe a team that's going to get to the playoffs like I predicted. So going to have to watch that. So those are the power rankings for the Big Ten this week. Go ahead and leave a comment down below if you think any of these teams should be ranked differently, or just let me know you agree with me. Whatever your opinion may be, you can let it be known. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.